Hey everybody, what's happening? Bryce here again with another video, just kind of continuing our sports card journey, trying to make some money and trying to learn and have some fun along the way. Thanks so much again for watching today, I really appreciate it. I apologize, it's been a couple weeks since the last video, things keep coming up, things keep changing, of course routines change, so pretty much doing a cadence of every 2 weeks I'm putting out a new video, just kind of updating you guys on how the sports card journey is going and how we're doing as a group and trying to earn some profit and to learn a ton. So anyways, so what's happened since the last video? A couple of things have been going on. So it turns out that Yu-Gi-Oh cards sell quite well. If you guys remember my last video, I started to, well, first I found somebody on Facebook Marketplace who was selling a ton of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They were selling about 1,000 of them. They wanted about 30 bucks, I believe, maybe 35 it was, and made the deal, and now they've been selling quite well. I usually sell anywhere between like 2 and 5 a week at about $2 to $5 profit per card, which I know for each card that's not really all that exciting, but if I sell all 1,000 of them for $2 to $5 each, you're looking at upwards of $4,000 to $5,000. If I were to sell all of them, of course it'll take a little bit of time, but just like anything else, anything in life worth doing is either hard or it takes a long time, but that's just one man's opinion. So anyways, what else has been happening? So a friend of mine actually found another person on Facebook Marketplace. Like I might have mentioned in previous videos, it's a great place to buy sports cards and things of that nature, especially if you're looking to get a lot of inventory really quickly and for a low price, because then that way you have as low risk as possible and you get to learn a ton really quickly, especially if you're just starting off in this hobby. But from what my friend's been telling me, a lot of rookies, autos, patches, jersey cards, things like that. I haven't had a chance to look at the set that the person is selling because don't have a ton of contact with them, but as soon as we buy that set, or if we decide to buy that set, I will let you guys know and show you what we've all got. The person is asking for 200 bucks for the whole set. Might try to talk that down a little bit just because I don't know what the set looks like, but like I said, I'll keep you guys posted about that as well. Third thing since the last video, so I'm not going to go too much into this because I'm sure you guys have seen it all over the place, but a lot of leagues have been canceled because of the illness that's been going around. It seems to be worldwide, but you name the league and it's pretty much been canceled or postponed or suspended. It really depends on what term they're using, but the NBA, the NHL, the MLB opening day has been, I believe, postponed for 2 to 3 weeks. The NCAA tournaments are all canceled as far as I know. Even soccer leagues around the world, like my favorite Premier League, has been postponed a couple weeks, so we'll see what happens there. But anyways, how does that affect what we're doing? How does that affect the sports card world? Other than to tell you guys to be safe and be healthy, the one thing I would recommend doing because of that is to actually start buying cards. This advice is coming to you kind of as like a surrogate from what I've been learning with Sports Card Investor, the YouTube channel. Check him out if you haven't already. He's got a lot of great resources. And what Gary Vaynerchuk says, plus just normal economic knowledge that I've gained throughout my life. Right now, buying cards and not selling them. Don't sell your cards because you're going to be selling them at a lower price because everybody's panicking about the economy right now. But I want you guys to, if you're, out of all times to buy, right now is probably the time to buy because the economy in the last week or two has started to, at least in the U.S., started to drop quite a bit, quite quickly, which means people are panic selling, and that means they're going to just get whatever money they can now, sell cards at a really small price, which means for us as sports card buyers and hobby card buyers, it would be a good time to buy because what's going to happen is we're going to buy these cards at an extremely low price, depending on which card you're looking into. And eventually these leagues are going to pick up back up again. Games will not be suspended for the rest of forever. These leagues will pick back up again. They will start again. Players will start playing again. And then once things get back to normalcy, the players you're looking to invest in start playing well again. You're going to see a lot of profit because you bought these cards at such a low price point at such an optimum time to buy that the profit margins just can keep going up and up and up and things of that nature. So that would be my advice. That's what I'm going to be doing. Like I said, with the seller that we've contacted on Facebook Marketplace, that's kind of what we're going after. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on my own to see which players in particular I'm going to be buying. I'll keep you guys posted on that as well. Just trying to make sure that I'm not missing anything else. I think that's all that's really happened between last video and this video. I'm continuing to list my Yu-Gi-Oh cards as many as I possibly can a day. It's usually about 9 a day, give or take, because the eBay Mercari algorithms, the more you list, the more likely you are to sell something. That's just kind of how the algorithm works. I don't know much about the algorithm, but if I did, or as I learn more, I'll show you guys more along the way. So, next segment of the video. So, I like to call this segment of the video things that I learned so you don't have to. These are just some mistakes, some cadences I've kind of picked up in the hobby so far since we've been embarking on this journey together, so that you guys can learn from my mistakes, not have it cost you as much money as well. So, mistake number one, I want to give a shout out to, I believe it was Armando. He commented on a previous video, I believe it was the first video actually of this series, that hey, you have that LaMelo Ball graded 10, what I called a PSA 10 card. But as it turns out, so here's that card. Here's that card. If you guys notice, I'll give you a few seconds to kind of take a look at it. It's missing something. And what it's missing is, it's missing the PSA logo. There's no PSA logo anywhere on this card. So normally PSA, when they send you graded cards back in an encapsulated case, where this word mint is, that's where the PSA logo will normally be. And there'll be some kind of like, I guess, reference number or tracking number, if you will, just kind of referencing, oh, hey, we did this transaction where we graded it, this is what we graded, this is what the card is. So you can reference it online. If you sell it, anybody else can too. But the only thing that's really on here is this first graded. Now, I don't know if this is a grading agency because they're not very well known if they're a grading agency at all. I don't want to accuse the seller of lying or hoaxing cards like this just to make it look like a PSA 10. That very well could be. I don't trust people because just people have proven me wrong. So how this lesson pertains to you guys. So I want you to realize that basically there are two big grading cards or grading agencies that people typically use to grade their cards and sell them. One is PSA, which is by far the most popular, and Beckett's sports card grading. Both of those are really reputable places that grade cards very well. So another piece of advice I would give is when you're buying cards and you're new to the hobby like me, do your research before you buy your cards, especially on grading things like this. See, I just rushed right into it. I just was like, okay, quickly buy now because I was impatient. Be patient. Do your research so that you know that, hey, this isn't a PSA 10 graded card. This is just, this very well could be, like I said, I don't want to accuse anybody of anything. This could just be an encapsulated case that someone hoaxed and put this Gem Mint 10 thing in here to make it look like a PSA and fool people like myself. So just be very careful. Learn as much as you can about grading, things of that nature, and don't fall for tricks like this. If it was a trick, maybe the person genuinely graded this, but I highly doubt it, and even if they did, this first graded dealer is not a reputable one. So be careful, guys. The second lesson I want to bring up. So I don't know if I mentioned this in previous videos, but the very first thing I did for this hobby starting off, this was back in October, November, if I'm not mistaken. It might have even been December. But I actually went on Facebook Marketplace. Again, great place to go if you're looking for a lot of inventory for a really low price, of course. Take a look at the cards before you buy them. But I bought a Giannis Antetokounmpo ungraded raw. Ungraded and raw, they're the same thing. It just means they don't have this encapsulated case and they're not graded. It's just literally if this card did not have a case. It's a raw card. And it was a 2013-2014 NBA Hoops Giannis rookie card. So I bought it for $5. He gave it to me in a nice little shell. I'll talk about that in another video later. But I bought the card raw. And at the time, this was the beginning of the NBA season, Giannis's rookie, that specific rookie card was going for about $35 to $40 on eBay raw, which is really rare. It's because Giannis just came off his MVP season. So what I did was I instinctively, since I was new to the hobby, I didn't know any better. I just sent it off to PSA for grading like right away, like within like a couple weeks. Because I'm thinking, oh, like if I have this this card, it's really easy to get it as a PSA 10. It's going to come back, and that card's going to go from being worth $5 to like $800, $900 if Giannis wins MVP again, or if the Bucks win the NBA championship, or if the Bucks make the playoffs. But here's what I learned. So it's actually really, really, really hard for cards to be graded as a PSA 10 or a Beckett's 9.5 or a 10. More on that later. But because of the fact that I bought this raw card, ungraded card for $5, and I sent it off to Beckett Sports for grading, it's really lowly likely that it's going to come back as a PSA 10, which means that I will have wasted like $40 on just hoping, oh, hey, is it going to be a 10? And what's even worse is the fact that I know when it comes back, and if it's not a PSA 10, I'm going to be selling it raw, and I'm going to have to be like, okay, I sent this card for grading already. That's not going to come back as a 10 because I obviously don't want to lie to people. That's not okay. It's just wrong. So basically, that $5 and plus the $40 that I spent to have it graded, that's about what it costs to grade just one card from PSA. It's all going to be kind of a wash, so that all the excitement from the Giannis card is just going to be gone, and I will have basically just broken even. So what does that translate for you guys? So if I had to sum this lesson up in like a few sentences, I would say if you buy your cards raw, sell them raw. Don't take a chance and don't take the gamble bet where you send it off to PSA and it might come back as a PSA 10. Because if it comes back as a PSA 9, it's not nearly... People don't want PSA 9s. They're not going to be worth nearly as much as they are as if they were a PSA 10. And the other sentence to that advice is if you buy graded, sell that card graded. Obviously, don't take it out of the case when it's a PSA 10 and sell it raw. That's just insane. The value of the card will go down significantly. So buy raw, sell raw. Buy graded, sell graded. Don't do the crossover. There's a lot of risk going on in that. The caveat to that, of course, is if you're into that sort of thing, if you're more of a risk taker, and you would be okay with buying that Giannis card like I did for $5 and sending off to the grading companies in the hopes of getting a PSA 10, who knows? That gamble might pay off for you. You might come back as a PSA 10, and you could make $800-900 on that specific Giannis card. I'm paraphrasing the price quotes, but that's actually probably not too far off from what Giannis rookies are worth right now. But if you're into that sort of thing, go for it. Have some fun. Make mistakes along the way like I've been doing. It's a lot of fun, honestly, and I've learned a lot, and I hope you guys are getting a lot of value out of these videos. But the burden that comes with that is if it doesn't come back as a PSA 10, if you're more of the integral type, you're going to have to be like, okay, I sent this off for grading as a PSA 10. It didn't come back as a 10. It's not going to be graded as a 10, so you're going to be forced to sell it raw with people who know, okay, it's not going to come back as a 10, which lowers the value quite significantly. So if I could go back in time and redo that card all over again, what I would have done is I would have bought this card raw, and I would have basically waited for one of three things to happen to Giannis. One, I would have waited for the Bucks to make the playoffs, which it's pretty much a certainty that they're going to. They're on pace to win like 70, 65 games, something like that. And then I could have sold the card right after they made the playoffs. That's just one of the events that happens that increases the value of the card. I could have waited for the Bucks to make the playoffs and or for Giannis to win the MVP award again. All of these are a bit of a gamble, but if he wins the MVP award or the Bucks make the playoffs, that increases the value of the card tremendously, especially if it's graded. But if it's raw, like I said, I'm doing this as if the card was just raw, ungraded, then that value also drives up. Or I would have waited for the trifecta to go on. I would have waited for the Bucks to make the playoffs, Giannis to win MVP, and or for the Bucks to win the NBA championship. Because at that point, Giannis's rookie card would have just skyrocketed through the roof, and that raw $5 card about probably would have been worth like $100. But I don't know that for sure. I don't know much about the market as a beginner, just like you guys are, unless you're experienced. Let me know in the comments below. But regardless, if that trifecta happened, the value of the card would just went whoop, regardless if it was graded or not. So if I could go back in time, I would have kept the card ungraded, and I would have waited for one of those three things to happen. Now on the flip side, say like none of those things happened. Say the Bucks just tanked and they didn't even make the playoffs, or say the Bucks made the playoffs and they like got eliminated in the second round of like the conference finals, what have you. What would have happened probably is the cards for Giannis probably would have like dipped because they didn't make it to the NBA championship. His card wouldn't have been worth as much. I would have probably taken that card and I would have waited till next season again for either the season to start back up again when everybody's thinking about the NBA, or wait for the Bucks to make the playoffs and start that trifecta cycle over again. Sometimes this hobby is about being patient, especially from what I've learned from sports card investor Gary Vaynerchuk. You just got to be patient with these things, and you have to wait for the opportune moments to strike. And like I said earlier in the video, for us buyers, the time to buy is probably right now, just because of the economy being lower and from what's going on in the world right now. Stay safe and be healthy, everybody. So that's about it for the video today, guys. I want to give you a sneak preview for the next couple videos that I'll be doing, just because I want to increase the value I'm bringing to you guys, and I hope you're learning a lot. I want to show you guys how to list cards on eBay and Mercari, and I also want to show you guys how to package these cards safely so that you don't make your buyers angry and you make sure that they're satisfied, as well as shipping these cards safely and securely. I'll have a little video about that as well. So I hope you guys are learning a ton. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I've been really grateful for all the comments and subscribers that I've been getting lately. If you guys have any comments or you just want to chat, just throw them down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to answer them whenever I can. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and happy investing.